What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Failed podcast. I am your host, Sam Esquivel. Thank you so much for following us on YouTube and subscribing. Thank you for supporting what we are doing here at the Failed podcast. And today we have a great episode. It's going to be super serious. I'm joking. Rudy, my man, Rudy Ventura.
Yes, sir, Rudy Ventura.
And that's a popular name right now.
Is it?
the last name, yeah, with the WWE stuff and all that drama. So it's
snaps.
It seems to be trending at the moment. But Rudy, thank you so much for coming on and being my guest. Mm-hmm. I saw you on a podcast and I kind of know your story. I heard you share about a year ago, and you co-hosted with Chisme Menudo, and then you came back on.
Yeah.
But you also sat as a host, as a guest as well. Mm-hmm. And so it's been about a year or so, and then you came back on here recently, and something about your story, something about the way that you were sharing, just captured my attention. And I just said, I need to sit down with him. I need to kind of go on a deep dive on who this guy is, because you're a comedian, mm-hmm. You're getting booked, you're moving, you're shaking, you're doing your thing. And so congrats, first of all.
Thank you so much, man.
And thank you for coming on. And so let's just begin, man, from the beginning, okay? Where did you grow up? Tell me a little bit about the beginning of your life.
Hell yeah. Let's get right into it. So let's go back. My parents, let's go straight from my parents. They're from El Salvador. I'm Salvadorian, and my parents came from El Salvador. They traveled, what I'm saying? Yeah. Bus, booze, whatever, bike if they had to. They got here though, And same with my older brother and my older sister. So whenever they got here, they chose to go to like the Galleria area, where the Valley View Ball
Dallas
used to be. Yeah.
Got it.
So right there, like Noel and Preston.
Grew up in Dallas.
North Dallas.
Okay.
North Dallas.
What was your childhood like? Obviously, your parents immigrated over here, started fresh.
Yeah.
Do you remember your childhood? Do you remember?
Yeah.
Was it funny times? Was there difficult times?
Yeah, of course.
That kind of made you who you are today. We're gonna connect your adolescence to your journey now here a little bit later. But what are some things that stood out when you were young?
My parents not knowing English, translating a lot,
mm-hmm.
Just understanding my way and having all that pressure of like me being that first generation, like, okay, tú tienes papeles, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of fun stuff in between,
Yeah.
Ups and downs.
Do you remember what it felt like to see your parents not know a language? And then I'm assuming as time passed, they learned it through you. They learned it through, their friends in social circles.
Yeah.
Because for me, watching my parents not know English, watching my mom struggle whenever we would just go to a store or whatever. And I remember people kind of talking down to her just because she wasn't good at English. And I remember, and it stayed with me. Even to now, I remember those times.
For sure.
What were some of the things that you remember maybe with your parents learning, and then you also teaching them as a young child?
Yeah. Just basic things, like just going to Walmart and having to tell them, remove this, or just simple things, I definitely felt it, seen it in my mom's face, I think, and I tell this all the time to Hispanics that are trying to learn English now, like the way you're going to get over all this is through the nervousness, that fear of not being able to do it. And I think that's in any language, honestly. You gotta be okay with being laughed at a little bit. And it sucks, but my mom, she didn't, like, she speaks a bit of English, but it ain't like how I wish she would have just like got it and rolled with it. You know what I'm saying?
How do you communicate with your folks now? Is it in English or is it in Spanish?
It's in Spanish.
All the way. Cool, man.
But I lost my Spanish for a while, man. Honestly.
You did?
Yeah, because I was going to school in America all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, hola, mama, quiero Karen. And
she's what's wrong with you? Talk to me in Spanish.
My whole, the older ones, they would make fun of me and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, English was my second language as well. So whenever you share that, like I can kind of compare, I understand you obviously. And so I know the struggle that comes with that. It's so many insecurities.
Yeah.
It's so many like, do I sound right? Do I sound this? Or how do I present that? And if we jump to your life now, you're a comedian. Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
There's a mic in your hand and you're vocalizing what you have inside. So you went from one extreme to the other. When did you start being confident? Like, when did you find your voice? Maybe jump to high school. Did you find it then, or were you still struggling? When did that start developing?
Now. Just now?
Yeah.
Just like probably this past week or month. I'm like fully 100, like, yeah, this is me.
I feel you.
And accepting it. I felt it for a while this past couple 6 months, but now I'm like, this is it. You know?
Yeah. How does it feel to be able to be up there and say, I'm talking, you're here to listen, you're going to get the way that I am. You're going to hear the way that I am.
On that perspective, like on stage, no, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about just everyday life thing. I think the stage though, I think you find your voice probably like 2 years in from what I hear.
Got it.
I'm not there yet, but I'm finding it, you know what I'm saying? And I'm starting to catch it a lot faster now in this first year than I probably would have ever if I wasn't concentrated as I am now.
Now, it's common knowledge that comedians are funny, but it's not like funny like people imagine. It comes from storytelling, and it comes usually from tough times and tough experiences, and you're just able to kind of trick your mind into sharing them in a way that people laugh. What are some of the stories in your past that you use now in whenever you're doing a set?
Like one of my jokes that I have?
Well, I don't want to give none of your material away, but where does it come from? Does it come from your family's, like, being from El Salvador? Does it come from food? Does it come from friends? Where does this material come from?
All of it is when you run back and you're like, oh, yeah, I remember when me and Kenneth used to do this. Or like, oh, yeah, my mom used to do this. Or like, oh, I remember that one time at work I used to do. Or it could just be in a moment, like on the way somewhere, like I had said, I made like 3 jokes on the way over here. Mm-hmm. I had three premises wise. And I pretty much, when I have an idea like that, when it hits my head of a thought or something, I just write like 1 or 2 words about it, and then I go back later and I try to make it into a joke form. Yeah, it's just like, yeah.
I have this like thing that I do with my wife, and that's like everything's an SNL skit. Okay. I don't know if that's similar, but I'll draw it out and say, this is how it would play out on SNL. And so then I kind of describe it, and that's how we laugh. And so when you see a joke, do you see it like verbally, or do you see it acting out? Does it become like a real story, but like based on how you're writing it?
It could be both, because I'm really like good with my wordplay, because I used to be a rapper.
Oh,
so just understanding wordplay is actually like a good advantage.
Yeah.
Because you can make something funny that's not funny just by comparing 2 words that sound similar.
How long have you been doing stand-up?
Barely 10 months.
10 months. Boy, is that considered a little bit, or is that it's 10 months hard?
Yeah, well, some people don't even make it past 2 years. Some people never even see the 10 years where you actually finally like resonating.
Yeah. So I'm guessing when I saw you, you were fresh.
Yeah.
You were, in essence, like your parents
like my 2 months.
Immigrating over here, not knowing the language. So you immigrated into comedy 10 months ago.
Yeah.
And there's a whole language and community that goes into being a stand-up comedian, especially right now. It seems to be trending. Texas is at the center of comedy because of what's happening in Austin, and obviously all the comedy clubs.
Yes.
What are some of the things, what made you get into it? And what were some of the first like humbling lessons you got when you started stepping into comedy?
Yeah, I was sitting on the edge of my bed. I was homeless for like 4 years prior to that. And I was just sitting there and I was thinking about my life, and I was tearing up because I was just happy that I've gone from so much that I went through. That's a whole nother story, but feeling that. And then my older brother called me like out of the blue, and he was like, hey, have you ever watched this thing called Kill Tony? And I was like, nah, what is this? And I watched the episode, and I watched 2, and I was like, man, I think I could do this. And then I just dived into it. I signed up at Addison Improv. I didn't go on. That was my first day, March 28th. And then April 2nd was the first time I went on stage. And that was with Michelle. She has a mic. Now it's at the Wine Therapist. It used to be at Buzz Brews. But I remember like being nervous, and I drank a lot before I got on stage. And I ended up just blacking out before I got on stage.
Oh, man.
And I grabbed the mic, and I was like, damn, this isn't easy as I thought it was going to be. And I put it back on there, and I walked off.
So your first time you just gave in. You said,
I only had like 3 jokes in. You know, I only wrote like 3 jokes. I just wanted to get on stage. I just wanted to do it, you know, even if I knew I didn't have it yet.
Yeah.
I just wanted it, you know. And then that first lesson was like, we can't be doing this, you know. We can't be over here getting wasted before I got on stage. We can't be, and then as I trickled down more, I started realizing how it affects the whole game, you know, because you see little things that you don't notice when you're drinking. You can have maybe 2 drinks. It ain't about getting wasted,
loose, but don't get
because then you get too loose where you don't even catch little things that you did, like maybe you moved your hand this way or little, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's fine. Have some drinks. I'm not saying don't be up there and do your thing, but when you're doing open mics and stuff like that, you're trying to perfect your craft. So it's like homework. Why you going to get a 70 when you can get an 80 or 90, you know?
True. What are some of the misconceptions maybe that you had about comedy? Obviously the first time wasn't solid, but maybe the second, third, fourth, and fifth time when you were like, because at some, like, I imagine a lot of people quit because they realize like not only they suck, but you know, funny is a different thing. Making yourself laugh is one thing. You know what I mean? But to make a group of people that's mixed from ages to races to the different cultures, that's a challenge.
Of course.
So what are some of the big lessons that you gained in maybe the first 5 times that you went up?
Probably universal language, just understanding that it's just crazy how my jokes resonated with everyone when I first started, you know? I didn't just do I'm Hispanic and this and that. It was, my came out dark from the get-go. Like one joke, like it goes... so I recently retired. This is just all jokes. So I recently retired. I know I'm kind of young to be retiring, but I actually stopped selling weed. Yeah. It's just because I've been killing it in the fentanyl game.
I heard that one.
And that's just
everyone's like,
it's a dark one, and that's a great way to divide the room. Yeah. Because you learn how to break rooms and understand how to rebuild, and it's just a whole play.
Yeah. And you're like, I'm going to focus over here.
Yeah. Well, it's because when I first started, I started just dark. And honestly, since then, since recently, probably like 3 months ago, I just started writing more clean material. And that's a bigger challenge, honestly. Yeah. Anyone can go up there and talk pee-pee poo-poo jokes, you know? You're going to get a laugh off anything saying, I'll cut out my cussing.
Yeah, that's all good.
But just little things like that. You learn to work. And I like working clean because it challenges my brain to work differently.
Now, you said dark humor, you know, obviously that joke that you told, that's a hard pill to swallow. But comedians tend to kind of do dark stuff. Like that's the last place that freedom of speech is exercised the way that it is now. Once that goes, we're going to have some bigger things to worry about. And so when you think freedom of speech, when you think touching on subjects that you couldn't touch on anywhere else, how does that make you feel? Do you feel like a sense of responsibility? Do you feel like you know? I
don't think no subject is untouchable. Yeah. I mean, if a white man makes a white joke about, you know, his white people, like, and the land, and you know what I'm saying? Even black people as well, they could, I don't think there's any subject that could be touched at this point, honestly. Like, it's comedy, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, we're here to laugh. If you're that serious, then kind of, you know, what you're doing. But I like clean for the fact that I can get booked on more different clubs, but I also like dirty because it comes out more me. You feel me?
Yeah. So is there a clean joke that you wouldn't mind sharing? Like
yeah. So with one. This is my very first joke, actually.
Yeah. Super clean.
It goes,
Mr. Clean.
Yeah, that's good, clean. So I, before all this, I used to actually be a rapper, and I'm currently a chef. And now, for some reason, I want to do comedy, right? I guess the only thing I haven't really tried is being consistent. It's I don't really. Let's do a better clean one that I have.
Now that's pretty good. Now, okay, so you're
No, go ahead.
you're 10 months in, and you were saying on the last pod that you did that you've been getting invites. You've been kind of moving around. Like there's like people are hearing about you. How does that feel? For people not to know who you are, to all of a sudden people getting to know who you are. Obviously, we think of Barbosa coming out of Dallas, and his journey, I imagine, looks very similar to yours, because y'all kind of grew up in the same area, almost the same age. But now here you are. Now you're aiming for the top, obviously. I think that's the goal for every comedian.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
What is that feeling like? What does it do for your confidence and your self-image?
Oh, it's up there, man. It's a bit nerve-wracking a bit, but sometimes it's like it just feels natural, and just like you get to enjoy it because that's you. You're not faking anything. You can just be in the moment with whatever you're in. Like I got recognized at a bar the other day.
Yeah, what was that like?
And that's just cool, honestly. I was like, damn, and it was no fake. I was like, are you sure you're not confusing me with Ralph Barbosa or Renee Vaca? And she's like, no, you're Rudy, right? You throw shows at Vitruvian. Like, I've seen your stuff. I'm like, what? Like, yeah. And it was honestly really cool. And then part of me was like, damn, should I be getting recognized this early? Because I think blowing up early is a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to blow up now. I'm not in a rush.
But it's kind of like up to the universe.
Yeah, that's
on how they accept you. And it just seems like you're prepping for it. It seems like you're doing a few things.
Yeah, because if it comes, it comes. You know, but I would love to take my time.
It's important for a comedian to put his time in behind the mic.
You can easily get,
So here's some things that kind of separate or a difference between a good comedian and a great comedian, okay? And the first one is the depth of material. Great comedian not only delivers laughs, but also provides thought-provoking insights and commentary on social issues. And so for you, when it comes to depth in your material, obviously a lot of it's emotional, a lot of it is from you growing up. As you start writing cleaner stuff, do you feel like it's separating the depthness, or do you feel like you have to dig deeper to get the same result?
It depends, because when you're writing your life story, you can go dirty or clean, because you can just switch words around.
Yeah.
Like a lot of my material isn't really life stories. I just barely started doing that recently, getting more Rudy jokes out. My first jokes were jokey jokes, like the ones I gave you. Maybe a couple of them are, me. But now I barely started pulling out more jokes of like how I grew up and just things about my life. And honestly, like I like rolling the clean route, because I could easily make a joke dirty and make it quick. But if you got to make something clean, it goes from I write small, quick jokes. Mm-hmm. So it's like I could go from like a minute, making a dirty joke in a minute, or stretching it to 2 minutes. And it's always better to have more time. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know. There's something called laugh per seconds. Pretty much, the more laugh per seconds you have in your set, the funnier you can kind of rate. People kind of buy that.
What's your rate? Do you know your number? Do you know a good, like, is it every sentence? Is it
it's nothing like that. It's always different. I can hit them with new jokes, old jokes. It's not. Then you'd be a robot at that point if you're always doing the same set. You know what I'm saying? I'm always switching it up.
So whenever you hear the people laugh, because like when you think of like motivational speakers, there's not a lot of interaction. There's more facial. The people leaning into it, and then maybe when they close, they'll clap or something. But you really just got to deliver it. But for yours, it's alive as you're delivering.
Yeah.
Can you hear the laughs, or what does it feel like up there? Is it like tunnel vision? Is it just you, or can you interact with the audience?
That depends on the stage always. Yeah, the stage. But if it's like a narrow stage where you do see the crowd, like bar shows, those are typically where you can see the crowd and talk to them. I like that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because you're more interactive and you feel you can look at them and stuff. But I also like doing actual clubs where you don't really see anyone, where you just have the spotlight in your eyes.
Oh yeah.
Because then you can have that tunnel vision, you know.
Right.
So it's kind of about it's like a video game. You got to learn how to balance in this little realm and in this little realm. You know,
Yeah.
people in front of you watching you, and then no one there, but you know there's like 300 in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What's the biggest crowd you've done?
400 people.
Wow, dude, that's major,
Hyenas.
man.
And that was
Okay.
7 months in.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
major. That's
Yeah.
that's pretty good. So
Shouts out to David Lucas. He gave me that.
So emotions are a deep thing for people. Like if we're not comedians, we're not on stage, we kind of have to suppress it, or if we don't have an opportunity to use it to our advantage. But you have to understand your like emotional range has to be wide. Like you have to get serious, then you have to get maybe sad. I don't know what journey emotionally do you go on when you do a set?
Yeah. I've seen people do that. But I can't really say that, be honest. It just depends on how I'm feeling. I do have where I categorize it, where it's like, this is going to be up, down, you know what I'm saying? But it's really just like one of those like medical things where it's waves and shit. You never know. Like it can go up, down. I don't really base my jokes on that.
Emotionally,
Yeah.
What are you going through up there? Like when you tell a joke and you know you're using maybe a complicated story, are you having to fight holding it back and say, no, I gotta do it. It's showtime.
Yeah.
Because when you're talking with friends and you're like, oh man, this happened, and then you're like, I need to take a break, man. I can't. But you're on stage, and you gotta go.
You tune it out.
Yeah. So how do you? That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you handle?
You just
those extremes
right before you get on stage. I always just tell myself like, it's go time.
Yeah.
We're gonna grab the mic and it's time to get into character. Let's go. Be yourself. You know. And I just I grab the mic and I always smile and I'm like, I either say F yeah or like hell yeah. Then my intro just to get a little chuckle and then I'll just go off there from I don't know if my last time I put it in the front. I have so many jokes. Before I get on stage I categorize it, you know. Like, all right, let's do this one first, this one second, this one third. Yeah. You know what, not second, let's do that one sixth, you know, and then I kind of read it to myself before I get on stage. Like about an hour prior, I try to prep myself.
So, okay, let's say you had to introduce yourself to go on stage, because usually it's someone else, it's the host or whatever. Yeah. How would you introduce yourself?
It just depends on what joke I go in with, honestly.
I'm bringing you on stage.
Yeah, I just like, hell yeah, what's up? How y'all doing today? Everyone having fun? Yeah, my name's Rudy. Yeah.
No, you get me wrong, because I'm curious how you see yourself. Okay. And so let's say if I had to introduce myself as a podcaster, I would say, here is Sam. He's known for being thought-provoking, asking great questions, and believing in the power of storytelling. He's interviewed so many people, and he continues to do so that people can see the lighter side of failures and challenges. And now, welcome Sam to the stage. That's the intro I would give myself. Okay. What intro would you give yourself? You're about to go.
I never really thought of that, to be honest.
Yeah. What intros have they given you? How do people introduce you?
It's always like, y'all welcome up Rudy. He's really funny. He performs all over. He's been doing this he's barely started not too long ago. I always get he's opened up for David Lucas. He's performed all over Austin. Da-di-da-da-da. Just little quick stuff. I like when people just introduce me with like, I like quick introductions. Like, I don't want them to know who I am before. Let me just do me and then come talk to me afterwards.
No, that's fair.
You know?
But, as a comedian, what are some of your goals? What would you like to accomplish in the next year? Do you move month to month, or are you just in it in the present and you're just like, hey, I'm not thinking that far ahead?
Yeah, kind of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I also have goals for like myself every month. I wouldn't say year, but I do like month goals when we make it to that month, because life's not promised, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So... yeah, but I mean, I have yearly goals as well. I don't know. It's a trick. I don't really know on that one.
Yeah.
But I do have yearly goals. Like, I don't know. I just want to get better at this point. Like, it's just practicing writing every day, getting back up on stage, writing, practicing. It's a repetitive thing. But I also say, like, you could have good jokes and you could perform and you can kill up there, but, like, if you're not a good hang afterwards, like nobody wants to be around you. People are always just so caught up with like getting up there and being so like, yeah, be great, you know, don't you be undeniably funny, but
Don't be
learn how to be a good hang, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's relationships. You're talking. You have friends, a community, right? It's important.
Yeah, exactly. Like I don't want to be on the road with someone that I can't hang out with. Like that. Yeah.
And so there's a lot of people right now who want to be a comedian because of Kill Tony, because it's just like I said, it's trending. It's trending. But there's a lot of anxieties that come with performing or speaking in front of people, one of them being stage fright or just performance anxieties, right? Did you ever feel any of those, or what advice would you give to someone
I got you,
who's dealing with that? That's literally what's keeping them from doing an open mic.
Yeah, so like you're gonna bomb a lot. You probably might do good on 1-2 jokes when you first start. Like it's okay, like you're gonna bomb, like that's fine. Like you gotta know how to just take it and learn how to bomb with grace. Honestly, like I if you're up there just like, oh, make it fun, you know, make it fun. You're in the audience, you're out here to perform, you're out here to make stuff fun for each other. Take it with a grain of salt. All the negative thoughts that come into your head after you get off stage, like that's okay. At least you're getting up. What makes you better is getting back up there every time. Like I've had a night where I bombed so bad where I went home and I teared up and I was like, man, I'm like, I gotta take this serious now. And that made me better, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That made me go harder.
Describe to me a bomb, because to me it's like being in middle school and then I get in a fight and then like my girlfriend and all my friends see me get beat up. Dude, you talk about, that's pretty hard to take, right? To me, how would you describe a bomb? Because people say it so like freely as if it's nothing, but it misses with you. Like it misses with, why did I do it? My confidence. Am I even good enough?
So I'm speaking bomb in the perspective of comedy. Bombing could be so many things, but I don't think I'm bombing when I hit an open mic and my jokes don't land. I'm going there to practice my jokes. Bombing is more of an essence of like, you're up there on stage and and everyone's reading that you're unconfident.
Oh, yeah.
You're giving that up, you know?
Yeah.
But bombing isn't. But people have it messed up. People think bombing is, oh, I went up there and nobody laughed at my jokes, or they laughed at a couple of them. Like, that's not bombing. Like, they laughed because you broke your character and they saw through the cracks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what that is.
So when you bombed that day and it hit you pretty hard, obviously.
Yeah, balcony club. How
would you describe that bomb? Do you remember it starting and then you're like, man, I'm in it, I'm bombed. Like
Oh yeah, that specific mic was only for jazz. People were there for jazz. They weren't for their comedy.
Yeah.
But you know, if you're a good guy and you're smart and you know how to make people laugh, you're good, you know?
Yeah.
But I wasn't that guy yet. I was probably like 4 months in. One of my really good friends invited me and he was like, it was a plan. He was like, I knew, you know what I'm saying? I was to set someone up. My head was a little up there, you know? So it humbled me.
Yeah.
And honestly, it made me so much better.
Yeah.
When I noticed it was I had landed a joke and then the band went wah, wah, wah.
Yeah. Oh, I got a text. Hold
in front of everyone.
That was my mom. Dude,
not just once, but like 5 times. Wah, wah. And then the.
So handling hecklers and the audience response, obviously you're touching on that a little bit, and the heckler thing or the interacting with the audience is so big right now. Like a lot of people are doing it, but it's its own thing. Okay. But how do you handle hecklers? I know that they try to control it, but they still exist. And, you know, you think of like, since like in football, they freeze you before you do the field goal. And then the next one you miss it. That's all it takes is for someone to throw you off. Has there ever been like a heckler? How did they get to you? And what did you learn from it? Is it like an annoying person in the front is laughing, or someone who...
I had someone once in the Red Room right here in Fort Worth was heckling, and he was like throwing my game off from the beginning. And the way I handled it was acknowledging it. But sometimes I didn't acknowledge it for a while, and it was working. But when I acknowledged it, it was either like a fight or flight. It was either gonna land or derail. And luckily it didn't derail because like I made it funny. I don't remember what I said, but I made it funny. And then he got removed because he was already like being loud and drunk and stuff. But sometimes the best advice I've heard is just ignore it. Just keep going with your set.
Yeah.
They'll kick him out eventually. Like, I don't know, but sometimes it's good it's good to respond back. That's what the greatest content comes from. Like, if you're not witty and on your feet, then I suggest ignore it. But if you are witty, then you snap on them, man. That's your stage time. Don't let them take it.
No, for real. That's your time.
It's my time. Yeah.
Now,
be greedy with that time.
You were talking about a class that you give or a workshop. About writing jokes.
Yes, sir.
And so you invite people over. It's structured. You discuss. You give them ways to develop. And how's that going? Because, look, it's one thing to do a craft. And then as you begin to master the craft, the next step is to teach it. Yeah. And so you're early in your game, but you're already feeling like I want to help and teach people how to do comedy. Where did that come from? Did someone teach you? And is there a mentor in your life? And why is that happening so soon? You know, because to me, that's a great thing.
Thank you. No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't have a mentor. It's really just me. But I went to Austin one time and they had this workshop where they let the comics get on stage and then they do 5 minutes. And then whenever they got off, everyone during their 5 minutes was writing little notes and stuff. And I liked it, but I just felt like it wasn't as interactive as it could be. You know, It's a great one. I'm not saying it wasn't bad. I'm just saying it wasn't as interactive as they could be. So I got that and I decided to do my own thing, but I'm not really like, I bring comics that have been doing it for like 2-3 years plus, more than me. And then I bring newer comics in there. So we're kind of just all teaching each other in a way. And I'm just kind of like the teacher that put it all together, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's honestly been going really good. I've noticed that it helps older comics like see the spark that the younger ones have. And it kind of pushes them too, you know? And then it pushes the younger comics, of course, because they're motivated that someone that's in the game or tell them like, that's a good joke, but maybe you should do it this way, you know? Or
yeah.
And sometimes I tell the older and the newer comics, you know, you don't have to listen to everything that they tell you. Or you don't, sometimes you don't have to put so much pressure on them. You got to remember, you know, everyone's different, you know? But it's never been a problem. Everyone's worked together really well. I've never had an issue at none of the classes. It's always gone the right way. I give them 10 minutes. They do their material. It's up to them how many jokes they want to put out. They have 10 minutes to put out jokes. And then also in that 10 minutes, they have time to get feedback. So it's really on them on how much they want to get out. And then at the end of it, because I invite 6 comics, at the end of it, it comes back to me. And I have a bucket with random topics. Mm-hmm. And in that, like, that, let's say they pull something out of the topic that says, I don't know, stringy, whatever, what's that stringy thing?
A slinky.
A slinky. Let's say it's a slinky. Now everyone has 3 minutes to make one joke about slinkies, you know? And then it's quiet. Yeah. Everyone's... That's all you hear.
So it's important to write.
Yeah, on the spot, man. That's what's gonna push you to be like, I want to do this all the time. It's like a game. Like, hey, let's keep going. Let's keep doing this. It's fun.
When I look at the slinky, I think of the dog on Toy Story now.
Yeah, let's go.
Anyways,
make a joke off that.
So Dave Chappelle, and obviously, if you have another reference that really
I love Dave Chappelle so
speaks
much
to you, but Dave Chappelle is obviously groundbreaking. The way that he does his storytelling, the way that he does comedy. Has really taught a lot of people valuable lessons about tough issues. Not only is it entertaining, but it's insightful.
Of course.
So whenever you look at someone like Dave Chappelle, what from him inspires you to continue in comedy, or what old school comedians I think of, like Sinbad. Like, I remember when Sinbad was at the top of his game, old school guy. Mm-hmm. What sticks out about Chappelle that you like, and maybe what sticks out about you that you want people to know?
Yeah, I love Chappelle. That's where like it all started for me. All the skits, the shows, Killing Them Softly, all that from when I was little. I always wanted. I always wanted to do it. Even Eddie Murphy at that time. I remember hearing his backstory, and I was like, damn, that'd be cool. But I never really felt it in my heart to do that because I was doing so much other stuff. One thing what was it that I loved? What was it?
Yeah, or that sticks out about him that you kind of like. You don't necessarily want to copy, but you're like that motivated me to do this.
The no F givens.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The constantly grinding, the truth behind it all, just being truthful, like where that people that resonates harder than someone that's making up stories, you know. I mean, his stories are a lot of like exaggerations as well, but they hit like home, honestly. I don't know, he just stuck out ever since I was little, and even to now. I can't wait to meet him. That's gonna be such a humbling, dope experience. Yeah.
What are some qualities about yourself that you didn't know existed that in the past 10 months you're like, I didn't know that was in me?
My charisma, how crazy good it is.
Yeah. People just love
talking.
You, like,
No, just talking, just being able to just talk to someone. Honestly, 10 months ago, that's the day I fixed my teeth. Yeah. They were broken for a while. I had hit the concrete. It's a whole other story. And for a while, I was really unconfident, and I couldn't look at people in the eyes. I couldn't talk to them. But in these past 10 months, not only that, even with the comedy, just like having that, it's just that extra weight on you that makes you, like when you take it off, you feel, when you're in the free world, you feel like, I don't know, I just feel more me. People look at me like, Rudy, you look more alive. You look here, you look in the present. I'm like,
it's my teeth, man.
Yeah, it's my teeth. It's nice smiling.
Is it?
It is, man. It's a new muscle that I had to get used to.
Obviously, before you got your teeth fixed, props, you know what I mean? And
yeah, it was nothing bad. It was just these two were like,
but that's enough to change the way that you behave. It's like the way you talk, the way you move your upper lip.
Oh, it's a blessing, man.
It changes your demeanor.
Yeah.
And so in comedy, there's a demeanor about you. Yeah. And obviously this new.
But even before the teeth, it wasn't even. I've always been confident like that. Even before, I used to rock my teeth like it was nothing. It's not that, man. It's something more than that. I just think I'm trying to just think it like it's that. I think it's something inside of me that just changed. Like it's like an anger like a fire that's just burning. That I just, when I'm in my zone, I'm just like.
Yeah.
I can't.
Tell me about that.
Man, when I'm in my zone,
What fuels this fire? What is it? A chip?
Is it
a teacher? Is it, is it a coach that told you,
My family.
Yeah.
My older brother, the one that threw me into all this stuff. Hearing him and telling me how proud he is of me. Hearing my family feel proud of me. My friends, my close friends. Meeting new people and them believing in me and like them supporting me after that. That feels really good.
What's the relationship with your brother like?
My older brother?
Or the one that you just mentioned right now?
Yeah, my older brother. We're tight now. It wasn't like that. My older brother's always been hard on me.
Yeah.
On everyone. He's had a hard life, you know what I'm saying? So, just little things like I would call him and complain about, man, like, just tough love stuff. And then whenever he got married and he had his son, I noticed that whenever he had his son, he became more nurturing, and was more wanting to hear, what I was going through,
Yeah.
At that time, I was already hearing all like the tough version before him, So when it was time to talk to him, that's whenever we were able to talk more.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's super nice. It's something that I thought I had to get through. I was gonna get through by having a nice career or going to college or Nah, man. Like my bro loves me just for me. Like he's the one. He's like, you're already going out and getting effed up every night. You might as well do something with it,
Yeah.
And then that's when he was like, he threw that. I didn't hear it till way later. He's like, I threw that at you. I already knew you were getting derailed. You were out there just every night getting effed up. Like I threw this to you, like, cause I knew you're already doing this. Might as well get something out of it. And then I caught the people around me who were like, you could do this. And then that made me more serious.
Did you feel before comedy that maybe you were aimless?
Yeah, I was lost.
And then now comedy
for the longest
in your life, and you have a direction now.
Yeah, man. Bro, I was out of there for a while, man. Yeah, now it's good. Like I got tunnel vision now.
Yeah. What would you tell someone who doesn't have a focus right now, something that's driving them? What benefits come from whenever you start finding what it is you want to be passionate about?
I would just say it's okay. Like everyone has their time. Like you have to go through what you got to go through to get where you got to be, you know? And it's all time. Just hang in there. You know your intuition on what you have to do. So just do it. You don't have to do everything. Just seek happiness within yourself, because a lot of people want love, but they don't understand that you can't love anyone unless you don't love yourself, you know?
Yeah.
So it's just baby steps. I always say that. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps. That's one thing I say a lot to myself. Baby steps, baby steps. Everything should be just baby steps. Learning how to rewrite your own history. Like suicide, that shit's serious. Like I've even been there. I felt that, you know. I used to do heroin and Xanax.
Yeah.
It was all up in that mind where I done myself up. And to get out of that and be where I'm at, like the most important thing to me is like knowing that everyone around me is okay. Like I got nephews like that are 17, 18. I never want them to ever go through what I went through, you know? But yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how you love yourself. And the reason I ask you this is people don't know how to do it. Yeah. You know, like either our experiences from our past or the lack of support, you name it, those things would just, dude, loving yourself is so hard. You know, you're just trying to let people know, like, leave me alone. I'm tough. Mm-hmm. How have you learned to love yourself?
Being able to open up to, like that's important. I don't think anyone should be like we got this like even with my father, like that or his father, you know, my father's father, they always been tough love, you know. Oh, he talk this is on cool, blah, 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 you know, like. But then you learn, like now it's me and my brothers, you know, we're the next generation, so we're the mans of the next one, you know.
Yeah. And
you know, obviously it's like talk, but you know, you don't like at a point get up and go, you know. Cause like, it's good that my dad taught us that to be tough when we were little, you know. But we ain't gotta so tough, you know, on each other.
How do you prepare? What are the last things that you're telling yourself right before you go on stage?
Before I go on stage,
just slapping yourself. I'm the man.
Yeah, I start punching the air and stuff. I think the most important thing is when you wake up, though.
Yeah.
You should look at yourself in the mirror and be like. You don't have to look in the mirror. Just inside your heart, just be like, "We're good, man." Like, things could be a lot worse, man. Things could be. Some people don't really look at what around them and the grace that they should have for even to be able to have your limbs or your brain working or just little things, you know. I know my mom always tells me that, like, since I was little, and I think she's been praying on me. That's probably why things have been working too.
Mama's baby doing that.
Huh?
They be praying on you.
Yeah, like I think that I believe in that, man. Like, yeah, my mom we weren't really religious growing up, but recently, you know what I'm saying? And it's dope, man. I feel it, you know?
Yeah. Well, before we finish, I like to ask one or two questions about failure.
Yeah.
And as a comedian, you almost have to, not necessarily that it is failure, but you have to stumble across testing stuff. How do you define failure and how do you overcome failure?
Tomorrow's a new day. It's okay, you know? Sit and ponder on it, but don't. It's like clouds, you know? I look at failure like clouds. The more you look on one cloud, you don't really see the other clouds around. So you're so focused on that one, you know?
Yeah.
People don't really accept that it's okay. It's like, oh, boom, boom, boom. Then they beat themselves up. Like me, I beat myself up a lot before. And it was just that little negative little shoulder that's just like, oh, you did it, beep, 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 you know?
Yeah.
Could be anything. I think just tuning it out and just being like, it's all right. Like, if we messed up, that's okay. Tomorrow's a new day. Humans only remember stuff for like a week or two.
Yeah.
Nowadays with all this technology and stuff. Sure. But yeah, just get back up and go out there, and you know it's okay. Like people mess up.
Well, I know you.
I believe in second chances.
Second chances, yeah. I know you got a show coming up tonight. This isn't going to happen. I'm not going to air it before, but I just want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. And again, I got really good vibes from you. I just
Really
want to encourage you to keep going. You said a lot of things that make me happy, that I wish upon people, you know, for them to discover their passion, for people to begin to love themselves more, and to have a supportive group around them. Like, you have a lot of things that are really rooting for you. And so, you know, hopefully one day I can catch one of your shows, but I'm watching you on social, and I just want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing and keep making people laugh and keep developing your craft. And thank you so much for coming on the podcast, man. I really enjoyed our conversation. You want to give a plug or anything like to your socials? And either way, I'm going to put it in the description below. But
I mean, first of all, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on here. I really appreciate it. I want to thank all the viewers that are out here. I'm so grateful for all this. But yeah, pretty much you guys can find me on Instagram. It's Rudy VS Comedy. It's for Ventura, but everyone thinks it's versus, so it's Rudy versus Comedy at this point. Facebook, Rudy Ventura. You can follow me on YouTube. It's called Rudy's Random Time. It's a fun YouTube channel where I hang out with local comedians and I take them out to cook and stuff like that. Other than that, yeah, just catch me somewhere sometime. Come say hi. It's always fun, honestly, meeting new people.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
It was great.
Thank you.
Guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I hope you learned something, especially if you want to be a comedian. I hope that Rudy gave you some nuggets that you can use, you know, just to find your voice and do your thing. You know, like I always say, man, we'll see you on the next one.
Peace out, guys.